Buongiorno and welcome to Tortellino Time. I made an apple and ricotta cake the other day, and I used one of those very clever tools to remove the core from the middle. I think they're called an apple corer. And it got me thinking, and whilst I was doing my cake, I thought, I wonder if I can actually make my own little tool to do the same with eggplants and zucchini. So this morning I went in the garage, I found a brand new piece of pipe left from plumbing, and I have cut a little piece to size, and I removed this part to replicate similar design to the apple corer. And I made an eggplant and zucchini corer, and I want to see if I can remove the middle of my eggplant and my zucchini, stuff them, and if I can get a nice different design for a change. As I often say, I love having fun in the kitchen, and I think to couple creativity with good cooking is a very, very good thing. Healthy and also fun. So let's see if this works. I'll try the eggplants first. I have removed the head to give me a good entrance point, and if you look at the length of my eggplant and zucchini corer, it's pretty much the size of the eggplant. So I'll tent this up so that you can see on the camera, and I'll go in the middle, and just like if I was to remove the core from an apple, I'll go through it. Okay, first observation is not as easy as coring an apple, but if you look, I'm already here, and actually it's working quite well. What is important to me is that I keep this straight and I don't end up spoiling my eggplant. And I'm nearly there, I can feel it here, so I'll place it vertically and I'll carry on pushing so that I can apply pressure against my worktop. And if I can, I want to try and avoid, oops, too late, but it's not too bad. I should be able to just pull it out, and the core of my eggplant will come out. And I can now pick it from my fingers and pull it out, and there it is. Perfect, look at this. With the second eggplant, I want to see if I'm able to remove the core without removing the cap at the bottom. So I'll just stop and see if it comes out. I might need to use a fork to help and see what happens. If I just pull it and turn it maybe. Yes, I've managed, look. So I've retained the bottom, and I've got now one side sealed and one side open, whereas here it's open on both sides. Time to move to the zucchini. So I'll do the same. I'll remove the head, which I don't need. The zucchini has got this bend and I cannot go all the way, and also this is not long enough. So what I've got in mind is to do it twice. I'll go all the way here and then I'll go from the other side and see what happens. Ironically, I thought that the zucchini was going to be easier as they've got a higher water content than eggplants, but it isn't. So I ended up putting my glove on, and actually it's going through. If you see, I've already got that much in, so it's a little bit more demanding, but I can see that it's going to work. And I'm halfway, and actually I can see that it's beginning to split, so good time to remove it from this end and do the other side. I'll chop this bit here, and off I go again, and hopefully this will meet in the middle where the other side was. Oops, it split, never mind, at least I'm there. Let's have a look. Ooh, I look good. Let's remove this from here. There it goes. So okay, it didn't work the way I was planning, but still not a bad outcome. They will be going in the oven, but before I place them inside, I will apply a little olive oil, both on the inside especially of my eggplant, there. And I'll do the same with my zucchini. I'll place a little olive oil on my hand, and I'll do the outside of everything. And of course I'm going in with my fingers to ensure that the inside of zucchini and eggplants also got some oil. Here I've got a little salt. I will not bother with the outside, but I'll put a little salt on the inside of my zucchini and eggplant, like this. And I'll mix it in. And they're ready to go in the oven to be partly cooked for 20 minutes, temperature of 180 degrees. Fan assisted. If you've got a normal conventional oven, 200 degrees. See you shortly. In the meantime, I'll work on the filling, and of course the core of my zucchini and eggplant will be part of it. And I chopped everything in small pieces as they will be going inside. However, the likelihood is that I will be making considerably more than what I need, which is not a bad thing, because the filling I'm using for my zucchini and eggplant is going to be an excellent condiment for pasta. So whenever I do things like that, I always make a little bit more on purpose, so that I only use one set of electricity, and then the sauce will go in the freezer, and very quick meal. One day all I need to do is just defrost it and make boil some pasta, and everything is ready. Fairly large size onion, and as I said, everything will be chopped very small. As I've got quite a lot of zucchini and eggplant, I will only be adding a couple of cloves of garlic as an additional ingredient for my soffritto. But if you wanted to, you can also add a carrot, or you can add celery stick, or both, entirely up to you. But I think there's plenty going on already. Olive oil, of course, compulsory in any Italian soffritto. If, like me today, you want the oil to be hot before you add your vegetable, just taste it with a piece of, this is zucchini, and you can see that it's sizzling, so the rest can go in now. Temperature at the moment is maximum. I'll mix it together and I'll leave it to sizzle on a high temperature for about 1 minute first, and then I'll turn it down to medium, and I'll leave it to continue sizzling and cooking for a good 6-7 minutes. The most important thing is for the eggplant to cook. The zucchini will cook very quickly as they've got a very high water content. The eggplant is what requires a little bit longer, so do ensure that your pan is big enough so that you can cook everything. Obviously, the smaller you chop your vegetables, the quicker they will cook. So I'm now adding 300 grams of chopped, well, I halved them, they're plum tomatoes. You can use cherry tomatoes, but also you can use, if you like, normal chopped tomatoes in a tin. And I will carry on cooking my vegetables with my tomatoes. Also here I've got some fresh parsley, or you can use the dry stuff if you like, or different type of herbs, entirely up to you. And this is pepper. I will leave salting for the end, as I put some salt on my eggplant and my zucchini, and I will also be using some sausages in a minute, so I want to make sure that I do not overdo it. And I'll cook this for a further 10 minutes so that my tomatoes will amalgamate with the other vegetables. And you might have noticed that unlike my normal routine today, I didn't put a lid on my vegetables. That is because I want them to be not too wet, so I'm looking for a consistency which is very much like this, so you can see that there is very little liquid, if any. And whilst my pan is still hot, I'll place it back on, and I did mention sausages, and I've got 3 sausages, and I'll cook them. If you want to know what I'm using today, these are Bramley apple pork sausages, but of course you can use any sausages. So I'll let them to cook now, maybe 5-7 minutes, whatever size sausages you might be using. Of course you can also not use any if you want to keep it vegetarian, or you can also use mince, but if you were to use mince, I would use pork mince, not beef mince. It is much better with this dish. So the cooking on the hob is over. Also my eggplant and zucchini have been out of the oven for about 5 minutes and they're cooling down, so I'll leave them on one side, and I can focus on finishing the filling, which also has cooled down slightly. So here I've got some mozzarella, which I've chopped in little pieces, in it goes. Parmigiano Reggiano or Grana or Pecorino, whatever you have got, or none, entirely up to you. But if you've got access to hard Italian cheese, it's quite nice. The mozzarella is mild and this is fairly sharp, especially if you're using Pecorino, it's even saltier. But Grana Padano or hard Italian cheese like Parmigiano is perfect. And I'm grating a good tablespoon, by the way. Egg next, to ensure that everything bonds together. So 1 egg goes in. These are dry breadcrumbs, which I make myself. That's why I use an old chocolate tin with some holes so that they breathe. By the way, there is a video. I'll post it up here if you would like to see how I do them. And I'm going to add a couple to see how it goes. And I'll mix it all together. I think I'll put 1/3 of the spoon of breadcrumbs, and then I'm pretty much there consistency wise. Also, because I will have some leftover for my pasta one day, I don't want to make it too breadcrumby, if there is such a word, so that it'll be perfect. I think this is okay anyway. So as everything is nice and cool, I can use my fingers to start stuffing them, but I will add just a little to start with. And this is working really well, as the stuffing is not going anywhere, and I'm using my fingers to press it down so that I get a nice little base. So here is one uncooked egg, and this is gonna be fun. Let's see if I can pour it in without making a mess. Yes, I've done it. I'm giving it a good shake, and I'm filling the remaining cavity with more of my mix. So this is going to be a vegetarian option with a raw egg in the middle, which will finish cooking in the oven. And having made a vegetarian version of my eggplant, I'll make a vegetarian version of my zucchini. I just placed a hard-boiled egg, which I did earlier, on the inside, and I'm gonna be filling the gap with my mix like this, top and bottom. So my sausages are almost cooked. I'm not too worried that they're a little bit pink in the middle, because they're gonna go back in the oven. The more important thing is that they're almost cooked. So I'm chopping them up. And I've done the same with the eggs. I'll chop them in little pieces, and I'll pick everything up and add to the mix now. And I'll mix everything once again so that this becomes now the meat eaters version. And now it's a matter of going back and filling my remaining eggplant and zucchini with my new meat eaters version of the filling. Kitchen foil, another great invention. So first of all, I'm giving my vegetables a little clean using some kitchen paper, and to avoid them expanding as they cook and going everywhere, because obviously it's open, if I roll them on some kitchen foil, then I fold it back like this, and I've done one zucchini already, and they will stay put, and hopefully they will cook nicely. This is my eggplant with the raw egg inside, but this will cook for longer, so I got a little permanent marker here, and I'll put a little X, and they will be going back in the oven. These three will cook for about 20 minutes, same temperature, 180 degrees or 200 if you go conventional oven, whereas my eggplant with the raw egg inside will cook for 40 minutes to ensure that the egg cooks properly. And then once they're cooked, I will leave them out of the oven to cool down slightly, and I'll come back and see you. And I'm back, and the cooking times were absolutely bang on. So I've left them out to cool down initially for 10 minutes. Then I removed the tin foil, and they've been on my tray now cooling down further for another 10 minutes, and everything is safe to touch. And of course, having cooled down, they're considerably easier to slice. So this is a zucchini, which is called the sausage inside. They do slice surprisingly easily, and I'm making them just over 1 centimeter each slice. So this is my eggplant with sausages here. You can see, I'll show you this one, which is a little bit easier. They look wonderful. This is my vegetarian zucchini with the boiled egg inside. Hey, there it is. Oh, it looks really good. Followed by my vegetarian eggplant, where I placed the raw egg inside, and if you look, it has cooked perfectly. I'm really pleased actually. I wasn't too sure about this one, but I think it's actually really good. I'll try a piece of the vegetarian eggplant first. Oh, it's wonderful. It's sweet and sour at the same time, and it's really beautiful. And the eggplant is cooked to perfection. And here I've got a piece of zucchini. This is the one with the sausage. Very keen to see what it's like. The sausage is to die for. The zucchini is a bit fresher than the eggplant, different texture, but they're just as delicious. They're both, everything is delicious. I won't bore you about tasting everything else. The taste will be very similar. So that goes to show you can apply a little bit of creativity in the kitchen and come up with something original, but still beautiful and really tasty. So here it is, thanks to my new little tool. And of course here I've got my remaining mix, which I can use again if I want to make the same again, of course, but the likelihood is that I will make a pasta sauce with it. So as cooled down, and I often place stuff like this in a plastic bag, then I'll make it nice and flat so that it doesn't take a lot of space in the freezer. And I'll go in the freezer, and when I want to make my pasta sauce, I'll get it out. I might add maybe a little bit more tomato sauce depending on what I'm making, and obviously warm it up on the hob, especially because the sausages were not totally cooked. And it's ready and very versatile. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed this diversification, and if you make it, let me know. And of course, as always, post it on Facebook if you have got the opportunity. Thank you for watching. Ciao, ciao. See you later.